Greetings everyone and welcome to a very special first taste video for the channel today where we're going to be checking out Cube Chaos, a game I have wanted to cover for weeks, but honestly I've been struggling to work out how I'm even going to begin covering it. So we're going to start off with addressing the elephant in the room, and that is that this game is the living embodiment of the term developer art. Now, whether you consider that a blessing or a curse is entirely up to you, but as with many games that have developer art, what this lacks for in art assets, it more than makes up for in ridiculous amounts of feature in the game, from its interesting mechanics all the way to just the frankly mind-bending amount of unlocks and cubes in the game. Cubes are effectively this deck builder's version of cards. It has very strong parallels with a deck builder, though it has a few things that strike it apart from that genre, namely the real-time with pause strategy element of how you play the cards. As the developer builds this over on Steam, Cube Chaos is a complex strategy roguelite about placing units to create giant armies, factories, combos, or self-replicating murder crabs. And if you aren't already on board with playing this game at the mention of self-replicating murder crabs, I don't even know what to say about you, frankly. I think you might be a lost cause. Overwhelming and outsmarting your opponents are the order of the day, though this, interestingly, is a single-player experience, and I can kind of see why. Build and adapt new strategies each run using a ludicrous variety of units and perks, and once again, just let this sink in. 905 different perks. I've played this a lot, and I've only uncovered 438 of them, and the cubes I've uncovered more than half of those, but there are 516 different cards. This is a game with staggering amounts of replayability. Again, if you can look past the developer art, and I hope that many of you can, at least for the duration of this video, just to see what it is about this game that I feel elevated to the status of hidden gem. But with all of that said and done, it is always easier to show than to describe, and there is probably no game that embodies that more than this one. So we're just going to jump into a game. However, we're going to be playing on a fresh profile so that we're not jumping in the deep end and definitely going to overwhelm people. There's already so much going on in this game that I imagine a little bit of overwhelming is going to happen no matter what. But let's start with a fresh profile where there are less choices for us to have to worry about. Now then, as I'm quite familiar with the game at this point, we're just going to go ahead and skip through the tutorial on a fresh profile. Yes, I am in fact sure. We're going to start the game. The very first choice you will usually make, obviously in this case we really don't have much of a choice to make at all, is between the class and the species. Now, each choice has a direct and then a combined effect. So in this case, a priest class, no matter what species you have, will mean that every 10 seconds you'll heal a random damaged ally on the board for 3 HP. And the dwarf class means you'll always start with a sturdy stone in your deck of or deck of units. It's weird to say deck of cards, but for all intents and purposes. Now, the combination of the priest and the dwarf class is on this bottom one down here. Priest plus dwarf means your stone regenerates 6 HP per minute, which is actually quite useful. Now then, you'll probably be very similar with this kind of map layout. We've got a couple of choices ahead of us. We can see the paths from each node. The red cross swords are elite fights, which have an additional usual negative modifier in the event, though sometimes these also affect the enemy, so it's always worthwhile having a read. We've got some event style choices where we will be given one of several choices. They're usually positive. They often have a way to get through them without doing anything, but the more positive, the more chance that there's going to be some sort of negative kickback as well. We've also got chests. There are other things as well. Shops, though the shops are interesting because you get a perk, but you also have to take a curse with it. We've got boss battle. We've got a sorry, that isn't a shop. That's literally just you get a perk out of a couple of choices, and each one has a associated curse. The shop, you can buy new cards for your deck, new units, and then we go on to the next area. There are 3 areas, I believe, in total. But let's go ahead and just jump into a fight, because everything is going to make so much more sense once we get into a fight. Okay, so Here are our cards, and we can arrange them. Currently, we've got a deck size of 9, with the stone is always locked in because of our dwarf species. We've got a healing container. Every 10 seconds, we'll heal a random damaged ally for 1 HP, and if it dies, it will do 5 damage to every cube it is touching. It's only got 3 HP, so it's probably not a great one to have in the front. You've got the Shrine to Recovery. Every 10 times an ally heals a cube, deal 5 damage to a random enemy. So these in conjunction with each other are quite powerful. It's also got armor, so before this takes damage, it'll negate 1 of that damage. There's no minimum on this. If the thing is only going to do 1 damage, well, it does nothing, which is actually really, really powerful. Now, one thing I like to do is I like to have my my cubes, my deck, arranged from most expensive down to least expensive. Next up, we've got the Dwarven Warrior for 25 mana, with 9 HP. This one has charging, so every 3 seconds it'll move forward, and every 2 seconds it'll deal 5 damage to every touching enemy and neutral. The and neutral part is an important one to pay attention to, because there's a lot of things that are neutral, that aren't actively out to get us, but are considered neutral cards. The dwarf will attack those. And finally, we've got Excavate for just 10 mana. After this is created, deal 3 damage to the cube below. Strength 2, this deals 2 more damage than usual, so I guess it does 5 damage. It's got no HP, so it'll probably die straight away. The enemy is rolling in with a leader healer. Every 30 seconds, heal a random damaged ally leader for 6 HP. It's got a scrappy missile. Efficiency 5. After this is created, cubes of the same name in your hand cost 1 less, to a minimum of 5. So right now it's 15 mana, and it could go all the way down to 5 mana. Every 1/6 of a second, it'll move forward, and projectile 4. When this, or rather before this collides with a non-ally, this will die and deal 4 damage to it. We've got the giant fly over here. It's just flying. Has 3 HP. Costs 10 mana. Doesn't really do anything other than that. We've got the Strength Project. Energy generation. This gains 2 energy every minute. After another ally with a different name is placed, give it strength equal to the energy on this, and then this dies. So every minute this will gain 2 energy, and then as long as you let this build up for a little bit, and then you place any ally, then this will inherit that much strength, which is quite an interesting one. Right, let's jump into the game and see how things go. Right, the first thing we want to do, always stop, my lord. Right, so the first thing the enemy did was it threw down a leader healer. That's not really a concern for me. A giant fly, and also the scrappy missile. Now that is going to hit my leader at the moment, but my leader's got enough health to be able to handle it. However, let's just not have to deal with it. I will place that down there, and I'll place a healer right behind it, so this wall will be healed. Down here we've got the time controls, and you've got quite fine control over it. Pop, there we go, and then this will start healing that up over time. It'll take a little while to get to it, but it will happen. Also, my priest will be healing as well. Now, realistically, one of the big things that I want is the Shrine to Recovery. That's probably the most important thing for us to get up and running. But so that we're not idle this entire time, let's get a dwarf out and pop you down. Now, we can pop our units anywhere along this divide. These are all of the hit points that are visible. These are, as you can see there, neutral blocks, because when our dwarf went down here, he attacked backwards. You might be wondering why he's not attacking down. It's because all dirt is classed as burrowed, which means they won't be attacked by melee attacks from above. From below the sides, that's fine, but from above, not quite so much. Now, when that's gone, this is going to fall down, which is not great, so I'm just going to place another one right above it. And at this point, well, I guess I could put another one there as well. We'll get another dwarf out in a second. Now, one thing about the dwarves is they have no way of climbing, so the only thing they can do when they've been played is to beat things down. Very dwarvish, I feel. Let's get you out there, and you're going to go and help out. Now, the problem is this dwarf won't actually move past this dwarf. There's no way of doing it. So they're just going to be basically in a line behind one another and just kind of queue up. Now, this early battle here, the enemy hasn't got very good cards, and these flies, they're just placing them for no particular reason. One thing you can look at, though, is if you hover over a tile, you can see where the AI will consider placing it. The flies, it'll put everywhere, but on the ground, for example. This, it'll consider placing it as far forward as over here, which includes on top of the fly. Now, once you get to 100 mana, the time will slow down no matter what. So we're going to place that in right there, and that can start helping out a little bit. Every time we heal something, it will do a little bit of damage, slowly. Our priest was healing the dwarf over there, so this was charging up. You can see that little kind of globe of power building up. It looks very, very Sauron, honestly. Right, okay, so press enter or click to continue. We gained 5 experience, and now we select a cube. We've got 30 gold, and we can re-roll for 30. You cannot skip this choice. One of the things I love about this game is the ability to skip choices is an inherent perk that you have to find, and it is an incredibly powerful perk, because the whole game is built around the fact that you can't avoid muddying your deck, but the flip side is you only have to take a certain amount of cards. You can choose which cards to take out of your full hand into a battle, so it doesn't quite have the muddying deck thing that goes along with a lot of card battlers. However, the ability to skip a choice is huge, because you can also skip negative choices. Right, Evaporate. After this is created, deal 10 damage to the cube below. After this deals damage, create a neutral steam in all directions except below. Now, if you right-click, you can lock a tile in. More games need to do this, frankly. The first time I saw this was in, I think it was Crusader Kings 3, and I fell in love with this particular UI thing. If we hover over this, we can see what steam is. It's flying. Oops, there we are. Flying. 3 times per second, this moves upwards. When there has been a cube above for 2 seconds total, this dies. After this dies, creates water. So it'll get to the top of the screen, or to as high as it can, and then after a few moments, it'll turn into water. Liquid moves sideways randomly every 1/6 of a second. Colliding non-liquids swap through this cube instead. Every 10 seconds, deal 1 damage to the first enemy any distance below. Retaliate 1. After this takes damage by a non-ally, deal 1 damage back. However, this will be neutral because the steam is neutral, so it'll make neutral water, so that will hurt everyone, but it's an interesting option. We've also got the aging replication. This is an add-on. After another non-add-on ally is placed, it gains all other abilities of this. However, this loses add-on and dies. Every time the mana cost of this in seconds has passed, randomly either gain strength -1 or poison 6, then create a copy of this above. This is an interesting one. So every time the mana cost, so like if we something that had a mana cost of 50, every 50 seconds it would either gain -1 strength, so it would do less melee damage, or it would gain poison 6, and then would create a copy of this above it. So this would just slowly replicate. This kills things. Okay, I'm not really sure why this would be a good one, frankly. Really not sure why this would be a good one. Does this get placed on enemies? No, it's on allies. Aging replication. So it just slowly fills up the board. Alright, well, you know what? This has confused me enough that I'm going to take it. Just purely because it's confusing. Now, I generally like to hit as many elites as I possibly can. So we're going to go down. We can get Ancient Blessing. Before an ally is healed, there's a 20% chance that it gains that much max HP, which is actually fantastic. This is a perk, so it's not a card specifically. Jump rope, rather. After an ally is created, it moves every non-0 HP ally on the same row or column upwards. After 1 second, they move downwards. Okay, and then jump over. After an ally moves, if there is now an enemy in that direction, the ally moves upwards, forwards, and then downwards. So literally it will always jump over enemies. That's not actually useful. Well, actually, I suppose it could be. Since we have got the stone, we can build a wall that the enemies are going to hit, but my soldiers would just jump over them to get to the enemy leader. That could actually be quite a powerful one. But the Ancient Blessing in particular seems really nice. I think we're going to go with Ancient Blessing there. Right, and then we're going to hit an elite. Curse of Falling. After an ally moves south, it deals 1 damage to itself. So if it goes down at all, it takes damage. Fair enough. Right, we're going to bring this one along. It's a fairly expensive one, though, in terms of its mana cost. So let's reshuffle everything there. And let's get into the fight. Okay, so one thing I didn't do is I didn't check what cards the enemy had. So there's a down laser. Every 2 seconds, creates a diagonal down laser beam in front of it. And a diagonal down laser beam is flying. Laser, every tick, the cube in front, one in front and one below will take 1 damage, and this dies without triggering abilities. If it's empty, though, it replicates in that direction, so it creates a continuous laser beam straight down until it hits something. We've also got the Oblivion Shard. Every minute, deal 1 damage to every single cube, and that's already been played. We've got the Growth Award. Every 30 seconds, a random allied leader with less than 1000 HP gains 4 extra HP. Dear Lord, that's powerful. Okay, Growth 1. Gain 1 extra HP 1 time per minute. And then finally, Summoning Pedestal. Burrowing. When there is a neutral cube below, deal 20 damage to it, then replace this ability with Burrowed. After an ally is created above, refund a fifth of its mana cost. That's actually quite a powerful one as well. Okay, so we've got some interesting cards here that we're going to have to deal with. The first thing I want to do is I want to make sure that my priest and this protection here is being healed. This is going to slowly chunk its way through all of these blocks. Now, the one interesting thing down here is that we've got regular earth over here. That's just 10 HP. But we've got rock down here, which is 10 HP, but also has 1 armor. So it can actually deflect a decent amount of incoming damage. Alright, well, we're going to have to wait until we can get a Dwarven Warrior. That's the first thing that we want to get out and about. Now, the problem with the Dwarven Warrior is you're going to run straight into that pit and then just get shot for a while, which isn't great. But let's get you out there right now. And you can hopefully start digging under this down laser and then destroy it as well. I'm going to wait for the next Dwarven Warrior as well. I really would like them to get out there and start taking that down nice and fast. Okay, well, you've managed to place a Summoning Pedestal. We won't attack above, so the best way to get rid of that is to allow our dwarves to dig through this side. Alternatively, we can use this and go like that. 1 and then 2 will dig through. And then we can place our dwarf there and get rid of this Summoning Pedestal so they don't get any free units there. But this is now going to do 2 damage to every block every X many seconds. But thankfully this is going to heal us quite nicely. And honestly, that kind of builds well for our particular style of play, especially if we can get a Shrine to Recovery out soon. So I'm going to save up for that, because there's going to be a lot of healing going on this map, I feel. An awful lot of healing. Now, we can't heal the ground. That is one downside. But because the damage is being done equally to all of the dirt, all of these units will fall at the same rate. So that's not really too much of a concern for me. And as you can see, the rock isn't taking damage because it mitigates the first point of damage. And all of these things only do 1 damage. So that's not a big issue. All right, there we go. Now, aging replication. I am very tempted to find out how this works. We might win this fight before we get to see, but I very much wanted to make sure that we were safe over on this side. Now, that said, let me have a quicker look at our units first. Have any of them gained... Yeah, we've got a couple that have gained max HP. This one has gone up to 13 HP from 9. Has this gone any more? I think 26 is the... No, it's gone up to 26. Very nice. The leader has not gained anything, that's fine. But it seems that perk is already starting to kick in quite nicely. The enemy over here has got a lot of health. It will die, though, before we get a chance to play the aging replication. So I guess we're keeping this in our deck for at least one more fight to see how that actually works. But there we go, 16 experience there. Now, let's see. Shield Transposer. Every 30 seconds adds a free shield cube to your hand. And a shield cube is flying, retaliate 1. After this takes damage by a non-ally, deal 1 damage back. It only has 1 HP, so it's not really that great, but I'd get 2 of them every minute. So we've got the, let's see, the Eldritch Flesh has armor 5. That's huge. Lots of things don't do that much damage. After this takes damage, 70% chance of nothing happening. Otherwise, this loses 1 armor. So the armor will slowly get etched away. This is Eldritch, though. After this dies, a random allied leader loses max HP and takes damage equal to this cube's max HP, which is really dangerous because if this is getting healed, that max HP is going to be rising. And Retaliate 3. After this takes damage by a non-ally, deal 3 damage back. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. And then Leader Regeneration. After this is created, a random allied leader gains Regeneration 2, which allows it to heal 1 HP 2 times per minute. Scaling 2. After this is created, cubes with the same name in your hand cost 2 more. Okay. So I can't place too many of these unless I get rid of it. But it's after this is created, which is an interesting one. I think this would be a good move, though, getting our priest up to have a lot of regeneration. But the Eldritch Flesh... it's very tempting. This is an armor 5 wall. There are very few things that can punch through there. But the fact that this could end up killing our leader accidentally, not really where I'm going. So I'm going to go for leader regeneration instead. And now we get a perk reward. We've got a consumable perk over here. Bottled drones. Consumable. Only works in battles. Every 30 seconds creates a chaotic drone in a random left side position for the rest of battle. Now, if we have a look at the chaotic drone, this is flying, homing, moves forwards or backwards towards the position of an enemy every second. With targets if that position no longer contains an enemy. And every 3 seconds, if this is in the same column as the homing target, create a 1 damage down bullet below and retarget homing. That seems very, very good. Now, the very interesting thing about any perks that we have, let's go back and accept that. But if we go into our inventory, some of them can sometimes level up. It doesn't look like any of those ones can level up right now, which is a bit of a shame, or at the very least I can't see the potential level ups. But you can sometimes upgrade them, and consumables are quite often possible to upgrade into a permanent version. Though in those cases they're usually once per battle rather than once ever. It's not something you can just keep playing, or at least not that I've seen. But let's jump down into the next battle down here. We are up against the bonfire. Every 2 seconds, apply 13 poison to this and add a free spark cube to your hand. Now, poison is an ability which removes 1 HP X times per second. So 1 HP will be lost 13 times per second. And then we've got mana. The spark, rather, is charging every 1/12 of a second and moves forwards. Projectile 2, so before this collides with a non-ally, this dies and deals 2 damage to it. And then this dies after 5 seconds no matter what. So it's kind of an annoying little bullet that they would be able to cast. From placing down a 20 mana bonfire, they would start gaining those sparks. Right, we've got gear. Every 10 seconds, accelerates all touching non-leader allies by 1 second. Oh, so time skip. Every 10 seconds, things will move forward 1 second of time. After this dies, the fire vase will create a fireball. Explodes. Before this cube dies, all touching things will take 1 damage, and after it dies, adds a free spark cube to your hand, so another spark. But we've got fireball. Every 1/6 of a second, move forwards. Projectile 4. So it'll do 4 damage when it hits. After it dies, it'll deal 2 damage to the nearby. So all cubes around it, all 8 cubes, so it's orthogonal and diagonal. And finally, we've got the Strength Project. We've seen that one before, so nothing we need to worry about too much there. Now, how expensive are you? You are actually not that expensive right now. So let's slow things down. We want to immediately open up by placing down a wall in front of our leader, some healing beside our leader, and then shortly after that, we'll get leader regeneration as well. And that'll keep us going quite nicely for quite some time. And then, yeah, it just gets deleted, so that's actually quite nice. But as you can see, those little sparks are kind of annoying, I'm not going to lie. Right, we're going to place down another one of these and another healer as well, because we are going to see a lot of damage coming our way. So this will actually help out a fair bit. Now, we want to get a dwarf along the march to try and take out these chests there. Oh, wow, okay, so they automatically got nuked there. Interesting. Let's allow time to pass a little bit further. There we are, we managed to get through all of that. There we go, and we can get down the ability to do some extra damage, which I'm very, very happy with. Okay, healing is happening nicely. We have got a good max health on this dwarf. Let's get another dwarf or 2 in play, and I'd also like to increase our healer's regeneration and healer's regeneration again. We're up to regeneration now of 6, which is quite lovely. Right, let's... Oh, no. That bloody thing managed to dig down, so our warriors were going to have to dig through the floor. But nevertheless, we managed to win. We got 8 experience points. Not too much, but... Remote shielding unit. Energy generation. This gains 4 energy every minute. Before an ally takes damage, use energy to negate damage at a rate of 1 damage per energy. Oh. That's actually really nice. If we can find another way of charging this up with energy, then it would be possible for this to be a very powerful unit for us. We've got a lightning cloud. Every 5 seconds, teleports to 10 spaces above a random enemy, and every 5 seconds deals 1 damage to this and creates a downward lightning, dealing 5 damage below. This is a laser. Every tick the cube 0 in front and 1 below will take 5 damage, and this dies without triggering abilities. If empty, it replicates, so it's just a straight down lightning blast. And then finally, we've got the duality laser. Every 2 seconds, creates a duality laser beam in front. Duality laser beam. Every tick the cube in front will heal 1 HP if it's an ally, or take 1 damage otherwise, and this dies. If empty, replicate in that direction. So again, it's just laser. When it says this dies, it's the way of getting rid of the whole laser beam, effectively. But that is actually really, really quite nice, and would build very well into our style of play at the moment. So I'm kind of tempted with both. It's hard to pick. This one would be great to put behind a line of dwarves. So I'm going to go with the duality laser. It feels like the right choice. And we're going to be going up against an elite with the Curse of Pain. At the start of each battle, each allied leader deals 3/5 of its HP in damage to itself. Okay. So our leader is going to lose a lot of HP from that. It's not the worst thing. By far, actually. It's really not the worst thing. Let's reorganize my cards. Now, our enemy also has a duality laser. It has the Summer Shrine. Every 5 seconds, a random ally gains 1 extra HP. It's got a Grave Ruined Wall, which has extra life. After this dies, remove this ability and create a copy of this here with full HP. Okay, that's kind of nasty. And it's also got a Mummy. Charging every 3 seconds, move forward. Every 2 seconds, deal 5 damage to every touching enemy in neutral. Climbing. Before this is blocked from moving horizontally, move upwards. And extra life. When this dies, it gets copied there with full HP, but it loses that ability. And finally, we've got Eldritch Influence. Ascension. After this is created, the first cube in your hand, which doesn't already have Eldritch, gains Eldritch. 5 extra HP and Poisonous 3. Okay. After this dies, a random allied... Now, this is what a tricky card this would be. Because if you place this once, the duality laser would gain Eldritch. If you place it again, the Summer Shrine would gain Eldritch, and so on and so forth. If the Mummy gains Eldritch, you're absolutely doomed, because you're going to be losing so much life on the leader. But okay, it might be a powerful one in its own way. Right, we took a bunch of damage there just from the beginning. So the first thing we want to do, once again, place down our healing items, and then we want to get regeneration as well. There we go. Now they're shooting me with a duality laser right in front. What a scallywag, eh? What an utter scallywag. However, that's okay. I could easily take that out myself with my own duality laser, and I'm kind of tempted to do so. Yeah, because this will take a while to fully repair that block, but if I put in 2 of them, then it should help out. Also, it just blocked itself. What a move. It just placed the Summer Shrine in front of its duality laser. The AI isn't exactly the sharpest tool in the shed. Right, well that then, I'm going to want a duality laser down here, a healer behind it, and a dwarf in front of it. So we're going to save up for a good couple of blocks first. Let's make sure that we've got about, oh yeah, we're going to need about 60 for this. We want the dwarf in front, and then we needed a little bit more than that. But the dwarf was important because otherwise we're going to have some problems. I think already through it. That's deeply upsetting. But the duality laser should be able to kill this. Well, maybe not. It might actually get through. Yeah, it got to the duality laser first. And I don't have a dwarf yet. That's a shame. Okay, dwarf, you're going to have to just dig your way down. That was a bit of a loss for us, but not the worst kind of loss. Alright, there we go. Let's get you through. Pop down the duality laser there. I should have put it forward. I should have had the healer behind my dwarf. Though here's another opportunity. We'll place one here and start attacking the Eldritch device over there and hopefully kill the boss. Or at least we'll do a lot of damage to it. So, when this dies, a random allied leader will lose max HP and take damage equal to this cube's max HP. So 23. So they're about to lose. Pop. Yeah, they just lost max HP and then lost HP from that. Wow, that is such a powerfully bad combination. My good lord. Why would you want to build that thing ever? Alright. Unless it was an crazy powerful Eldritch unit, maybe. But other than that, I just can't see a benefit to them. Right, we want to get down a healing... Shrine to Recovery, rather, as soon as we can. There we go. And at this point, Oh, okay, you won that fight, I suppose. But ultimately, we managed to get through because all of these were now eldritch. So every time we killed one, we did damage, permanent damage to the enemy leader. Again, awful, awful cube. I would never have put that down myself. Radioactive laser. Every 4 seconds, create a poisonous laser beam. A poisonous? Wow. So Poisonous 2 applies 2 poison to non-allies this damages. That is a much better laser. Position randomizer. When there is a neutral cube below, it burrows down, or it tries to. And then every second, if the cube above is not an enemy, teleport it to a random position. I'm not sure about that. Wall shield congealer. Every 3 seconds, create shield cubes in the shield area in front of this. Now, that's every 3 seconds. Those cubes don't take a lot of punishment, so I'm not sure that was the best one. I think it's the radioactive laser, frankly. And we get a perk from this one, another consumable, a sacrificial dagger. Consumable, lose a life, but gain 60 gold. I can't see me ever using that, frankly. Right, select the perk. Now, this one is unique to the priest, and then these ones are for everyone. Whetstone. After an ally is placed, it deals double damage. Cooldown 35 seconds. First doubling occurs after 35 seconds. Stabilized movement. After an ally moves, all previously touching allies gain unmovable. And +1 damage for 5 seconds. Okay. So all previously touching allies, is that touching to the one that moved? Or any that happen to be touching anywhere in the field, because that could have a very different and drastic effect. Healer training. Every second, any ally directly in front of your starting leader is healed for 1 damage. Any ally directly in front. Okay, well, so the first column in front. I mean, it's not a bad one. Sure, I'll pick that up. And now we're on to a boss. Okay, so bosses work a little bit differently. And we will cover exactly how differently they work into some... Oh man, this is going to take some... quite a lot of finagling there. There we go. I think that's more or less right. There we are. Right, so let's have a look at their cards. We've got the Robot Factory. Every 7 seconds, creates a kamikaze robot above. This one charged forward every 1/3 of a second. Before this dies, touching cubes take 1 damage, and projectile 1. Before this collides with a non-ally, this dies and deals 1 damage to it. And the buoyant won't be moved by the world or gravity if there is a cube below. Oh. Okay, that's a very interesting one. Right, we've also got the Prison Warden. It has 5 regeneration, so it heals 1 HP 5 times per minute, and melee on every second deals 2 damage. And only allies can move backwards. Only allies can move backwards. Why would enemies ever move backwards? Like, generally speaking, things only move... Oh, actually, this would affect our drones. That's an interesting one. Okay. Phase gun. Every 4 seconds creates a phasing bullet in front. And a phasing bullet has phasing. When there is a single allied cube in front of this, teleport across it. Oh, okay. Projectile 3, so it's not too bad. It'll die after 10 seconds, so it's not the best bullet. Well, actually, 10 seconds is a long time in this game. Every second, if there is a non-ally in front, deal 4 damage to it. Pretty simple drill there, but you have to place it down and it'll only drill directly in front. It doesn't seem to move. Toy Maker. Every 3 minutes adds a random cube from the library which costs 20 mana or less to your hand. Except it costs 0. Dear God, that's a powerful card. Petrify. After this is created, if there is a cube below, create stone above and deal 50 damage to the cube below. Okay. That's a very interesting one. Right, okay. Well, this is going to be a tricky start. They've already got a Robot Factory out. I strongly disapprove of this, so I'm going to retaliate with a... Oh, I kind of want a poison laser up there, really, hitting the enemy over here. So let's have a look at this. Boss scaling. Every couple of seconds, the boss gets stronger. I really want to just hit the boss with the poison laser right from the get-go. This may be a very, very bad move, but we'll see. We now need a wall about there, and a healer behind that wall. They've already played a Prison Warden. Interesting, the Prison Warden has now blocked that area. This has got Poison 6 so far, loses 1 HP 6 times per minute. We just need to get through that and then hit the boss. and we should be golden in that regard. Now they're going to slowly dig their way through all of this, and that's not too much of a concern for me right now. My main concern is seeing if we can't just wipe out this boss nice and early. The poison is really starting to scale now. Right, let's get that down. This will be an issue for me in a little bit, so I do kind of need to get over there. How would we go about doing that? I could go for a duality laser. Might be worth it because these bullets would be affected by that, and the duality laser fires stupidly fast. There we go. We're now applying poison to the enemy leader. This is pretty much a win situation, I would say. Now let's see if this can take out that bullet. It only did one. It only got one chance to fire. Okay, well, we now need a healer behind it. It is going to overall win these fights, especially when it's got that much lead time on the enemy bullets, but it's never going to get to the guns itself. However, the enemy is now up to 16 poison, and it's just going to keep getting higher and higher. Honestly, that poison laser is going to win us so many battles so early on. It almost feels like cheating, but this is just the way that the cards fell, I'm afraid, enemy. It's not my fault. I got a better deck than you. Right, we are going to want to try and block some of the incoming damage down here if we can, so let's pop that down. And then as soon as we can, pop a healing cube behind it, if at all possible. We'll see what we can do. We are actually occasionally hitting some of these tiles back there, which is very nice. And we've already won, just purely due to poison. Oh, that was fantastic. That was probably the easiest boss fight I've fought so far. Right, we've got a health battery. Before an ally with a different name takes damage, negate all the damage and deal that much damage to this. Alright, that's got 100 mana, but 100 health. That can absorb a lot of damage, but do I want that? That being said, if I surrounded this with things that could heal, that might not be a bad idea. Regenerator, every 30 seconds, heal every ally for 1 HP. That is wild. And then finally, the poison anthill. Every 14 seconds, creates a green ant above. Every second moves forwards. Every second deals 1 damage to every touching enemy in neutral. Poisonous. Applies 2 poison to non-allies. This damages. This dies after a minute. Climbing. Oh, this is so good. This is going to scale horribly. Right, we've got 200 gold burning a hole in our pocket. We could increase our deck size, but honestly, I don't think we need to. We could trash some perks. We could buy cubes if we wanted to. We could take on curses in order to make money. We can buy perks over on this side. So we've got consumables. We have got a couple of options. I can buy Priest again. Every 10 seconds heals a random damaged ally for 3 HP. Inflation. After you gain or lose money, gain or lose 9 times that amount again. Thing is, would this kick in first? Or would I get this one purchase? But then you can make stupid amounts of money, then trash the perk. Every minute, reduce the cost of every cube in your hand by 2 until placed. General Assistant. Okay. It's an interesting one. And then we've got the Paper Airplane. After an ally is created, 10% chance it gains Unfolding, unless it already has Unfolding, copying itself the first time it moves. Huh. And it's 88. I could get General Assistant and Paper Airplane together. That would actually be an interesting group. I'm not going to go for that. That seems like a trap. You can absolutely go negative money in this game, and a little bit of debt doesn't actually hurt that much, especially if you've got a good, strong deck. But a lot of debt hurts a lot. It is wickedly bad. But this is definitely one of those games where if you're just a few gold short, you can just go into a little bit of debt and hopefully you can recover later on. Okay, well, that was a good visit to the shop, and we can head into the next area. Now, the next area holds some new things. First and foremost, we can gain lives, we can upgrade our perks, or we can take on a perk chest, but lose 1 life for the privilege. Now, there's a lot of elites over there, and it saddens me beyond measure that I'm going to say goodbye to all but 1 elite, because we want this more than anything, the ability to upgrade our perks. Right, now at this point, this is worth... I still haven't seen what aging replication does. I really want to find out, so we are going to keep hold of this. However, I think we're going to lose Excavate in favor of getting Poison Ant. So let's shift everything down. That was about 40 mana as well, so we'll pop that one there. There we go. Alright, we're up against... Ooh, this looks interesting. Shrine of Chaos. After another ally is created, 20% chance to add a copy of it to your hand, except it gains a random bonus and costs 5 more. Ooh, that could scale really badly for me. The Healing Hat. Heal 1 HP 8 times per minute, and every second heal the cube below for 1 HP. Prison Warden. We've got the Golemize. After another non-add-on ally is placed, it gains all other abilities of this. However, this loses add-on and dies. This would allow anything placed to gain charging every 3 seconds, move forward, and every 2 seconds do 2 melee damage. That could be really nasty on a fire vase, because it explodes. Ooh, I disapprove. Pop-up turret. It's a burrowing item. Every 10 seconds, move upward, create a temporary support rod below, and shoot a bullet in front. Okay. That actually seems quite cool. Alright then, let's get going. But the first thing we're going to want to do is I very much want to get some ants out into play. However, kind of want that in play as well. I could go ahead, place down a tile here, place down this tile for the beginning there, and as soon as I can get a poison laser going. Now, every 14 seconds, we're going to create poison ants. And those ants can move around, which is going to be rather amazing. There we go. Off they trundle to do all sorts of evil things to the enemy. Oh, actually, that is very interesting. Paper airplane. After an ally is created, it's not placed. There is a difference between placing an ally and creating an ally. This creates allies. I place allies, but that also counts as them being created. So, the fact that we picked this up with the ant farm means occasionally we'll get double ants. That is going to be bitterly dangerous for our enemy. Now, how much poison have you got? You've only got a little bit of poison right now, but that's fine. These ants are effectively free. However, I don't want to block them off, so I want to place that one down before I place down the poison turret. You've now made a poison vase, which I don't like that much, but oh well. Let's see. They've got a pop-up turret already in place. Where is that going to go? That's going to fire it over here. Okay, let's pause that a second. How much damage is that going to do? 2. How much damage is this? This can handle it. We'll place it down. That can tank it. Actually, I think it may. Oh, actually, it's already getting healing from this as well, because that heals diagonally. That's pretty useful. That's very, very useful, in fact. Right, we want to get another healing turret in. And of course, the poison laser, though I think they're basically going to even each other out. No, it will get a laser shot off occasionally in time to do a little bit of extra damage. I like that. Okay. We'll get a healer right here, though that is now on the march. It'll die very quickly, but it's still going to be annoying for me. And let's see what you do. And there we go. And it launched its fireball straight away. Okay, really? You put something on top of the pop-up turret? I don't think that was very wise, but sure, you do you. We could get in a regular turret here, like a duality laser, just to help thin the enemies out a little bit. I think that would probably be wise. We'll get an extra healing item behind it. There we go. This should do quite nicely. The Golemize has been played. Now, the interesting thing with Golemize is the Golem rune itself is a Golem. Because when it triggers, it triggers its current effect, or current effects on everything else. So the way that plays out is that the Golem itself has to be capable of moving and getting into trouble and dying for you to be able to transfer those abilities onto something else. So depending on when you place it down, it could actually be a bit of a rough one. Do we want something down here to prevent this from eventually digging through? Possibly. Or maybe I could just go for another ant farm, really. I think... Oh, wow, that hurt. That hurt a lot. Damn. Okay, if we managed to get... We did manage to get poison across there, but... Oof. Annoying. Alright, well, this is going to get all the way through. Thankfully, the ant there helped out a bit. hope that... well done. The ant is actually protecting us here. Nice. Okay, well, we will win this fight at this point. There's not a lot they can do to stop us. Though that is getting the healing hat effect as well, so we kind of wanted more poison to have occurred, really. I could get another duality laser here, pop down another healing turret behind it. We'll eventually dig through all of these things. Get rid of the healing hat, and then the poison will start to really do its wonders. Though perhaps at this point, considering, we should go ahead and place down our shrine to recovery right at the back here. We are by far and away controlling this battle, though. The ants aren't able to do enough damage just yet, but if we add more and more and more of them, it will continue to mess up the enemy. But the big problem we have is that this does so much damage when it dies. Right, let's get that in play. I could send out a regular dwarf, I suppose. Sure. Let's see how that dwarf manages to do things. We could get in another duality laser, perhaps, as well. That would be quite useful. I'll let that go through first. There we go. And as soon as that passes by, there we go. Right. Now, I could put a duality laser behind my duality laser. That also would help out. But I don't think we're really going to go for that one just yet. Unfortunately, we're having to gradually dig our way through the enemy over here. And it is taking us time, but we've got a decent amount of ants making their way over there now. And they are doing damage to the enemy leader, stacking up the poison. It's not terrible. We'll get down another ant farm, though, just because we can. Honestly, I may as well go for just putting all of my points into ant farms at this point. They're pretty much going to be the be-all and end-all of taking out the enemy here. So let's speed things up, and we should be able to wrap up this fight fairly convincingly. Nice. Okay, starting to accrue money once again. So we've got an air sharpener. Doubles all damage dealt to leaders. Alright. The mind control trap. When there is a non-ally in front, that cube joins your faction, and this dies. The converted cube dies after 4 minutes. Could be powerful in front of a really powerful enemy. Or we can get the mortar. Every 10 seconds, create an arcing mortar projectile above this. Now, this one is potentially huge. The mortar projectile, after this is created, this gains a slightly random amount of arcing momentum. Every 1/4 of a second, move forwards, projectile 4 upon collision, so it does a lot of damage. This only costs me 40, but the mortars themselves are created, and thus they will be subject to unfolding. Alright, now we can have a look at the potential upgrades. So let's have a look at the sacrificial dagger. It would cost us 15 to make this an infinite sacrificial dagger. Click to lose 1 life, but gain 60 gold. Only works if above 0 lives. Let's not do that. Bottled drones. Drone hive. Every 30 seconds, create a chaotic drone in a random left side position. And that's it. This is no longer a consumable. For 90 gold, I could always have chaos drones spawning. The paper aeroplane, advanced paper aeroplane for 90 gold. After an ally is created, there's a 10% chance it gains unfolding 2, copying itself the first 2 times it moves. That is very tempting. General assistant. Effective general assistant. Every minute, reduce the cost of every cube in your hand by 3 until placed. The minimum is -10. I can get mana back for placing things if I let this run for long enough. Healer training becomes global training. Every second, your starting leader heals every other ally in the same row for 1 damage, or Ancient Blessing, very Ancient Blessing. Before an ally is healed, there's a 20% chance it gains that much max HP, and a 1% chance to grant allies in your hand with the same name that much max HP. That is quite nice, but extremely expensive for what it is. For me, I think it has to be bottle drones. Paper airplane is so tempting, though. So very tempting. But it has to be bottle drones. So I'm going to go into a little bit of debt for this one. Now, the thing is I could also upgrade that. You can upgrade everything if you're willing to go into that much debt. I am not, because I am sane. However, you can risk it for the biscuit if you want to. Now, I could also see about picking up a curse over here. Do I really want to? Not really, and I do like hitting the elite. So, Curse of the Masons. After an ally is placed, it loses 1 HP. Alright. Only placed. Again, pay very close attention to created or placed, because our lasers only have 1 HP, so that would mean our lasers would instantly be destroyed. However, they're not placed, they're created, so this should be okay for us. Now, the mortar is so useful. I keep forgetting to try it. If I don't have that in my deck, I'm never going to find out what it does. But, look, this is great. I'm going to stick that onto my Dwarven Warrior, I swear, at some point. Alright, let's start this. Let's see what we've got first. Water Portal. This dies after 3 minutes and every 5 seconds creates a neutral water below, so that's going to be dangerous to them and me. Royal Guard. Every second, if an allied leader is damaged, move forward. Every second, deal 3 damage to every touching enemy in neutral. So this one won't do anything if we're not hurting the ally. The leader. Shield Congealer. Every 2 seconds creates a shield in front. We've got the Oblivion Shard. That'll deal 1 damage to everything on the map. War Improvements. This is an add-on, and it will give Strength 2, which is... Ooh, after this creates a cube, the child gains Strength 2. Ooh. If they had that, plus my Poison Anthill, that would be devastatingly powerful. And then the Ananoran. Charges every 2 seconds move forward, and every second deals 4 damage to every touching enemy in neutral. It can climb as well, which is actually a bit of a rough one. After this is created, this gains 0.5 extra HP for every enemy. Alright. It's going to be a bit of a rough one. Curse of Masons. Any placed ally loses 1 HP instantly. I would love to get a poison bolt hitting you straight away if I could. Well, that is going to cause me issues. Now, this is the cost of debt. Call upon debt. Can't be placed. 1 call upon debt experiences time even while in hand. Every minute, if there is a debt and add a random debt cube to the AI's hand. Added cubes are more dangerous with more debt and are always free to place, which is very nasty. So we're going to place this down. We're immediately going to start doing damage to the enemy over here. Get some poison. They've already dropped in a water portal, but now that they're poisoned, and they don't really have much of a way to get away from that poison, I will then want to get ants in, though ants will possibly take damage from all of this down here, which is going to be a bit of an issue for me. Speed up time. A mortar may help. Yeah, there we go. The enemy is on the march. Can it climb? No, so it's going to just dig through. Not ideal. What I'm going to want is... Oh, there's my drone. Fantastic. Can I place you here? While it's attacking... downwards, we might be able to do some damage to it first. Oh, nice. When it moved, it copied itself. That was very nice. Very nice indeed. Right, well, I would love to play this, but I don't think we're going to get a chance. Let's have a look at your health. No, you're still on the move. That is exceedingly dangerous for me. Okay, let's have a look at you. You're going to die slowly. Well, you're going to do a little bit of damage every couple of seconds, unfortunately, but that's just the way that is. I don't think you're going to get... Oh, you did. Whew. I wasn't sure if that dwarf was going to get a chance to take them out. Right, Chaos Drone is seeking who? Oh, it's going straight for the leader. Okay, I'm very much down with that. Another Chaos Drone already in play. That was the right call. I really wasn't sure whether I should go for the Chaos Drone upgrade or get the paper airplane upgrade, but this seems to be the right way to do it. There we go. And now it's going to track something else. Okay, perfect. Right, I would like to get an... well, actually, I would really like to get the aging in. So let's see if I can't get enough mana for that before the enemy is already dead. Now, interestingly, my dwarves are actually taking damage from fighting the water, which I feel isn't very fair. But it won't. Okay, never mind. I brought it in to use. But between the Chaos Drones and the Poison, already got the win. Very nice. Alright, so we've got Shockwave. After this is created, deal 1 damage to every enemy. 70 mana, though. We've also got the Oblivion Shard. We've seen what that one does. And finally, we've got the Fire Generator. Every 20 seconds, adds a free Spark Cube to your hand. This one might not be too bad. But the Oblivion Shard is such a powerful one, as it will remove all of the ground across the map. It would also take out water. It's so chaotic. It will hurt us, and we will then heal, because we're obviously playing the Priest faction. But... and then that can scale, especially with the Shrine of Recovery. However, it's just so everywhere. I don't like it. We're going to go with the fire generator, I think. Equal exchange is the perk. Consumable. Click on this perk, then click on another perk to exchange it for a random one of equal value. Okay, well, I don't think I'm going to be using that, but sure. Well, we'll go into this fight over here. The flame, we'll find out what I can do with that once we get aging replication going on something. Right, the enemy have got the Grave Ruined Wall, also growth. After another add-on ally is, a non-add-on ally is placed, this gets applied to it and it has growth 4. Gain 1 extra HP 4 times per minute. It's got heavy gravity. After this is created, every cube deals 2 damage to the cube below it. Scrappy Missile. We've seen that one before. We've got the Shadow Knight. Now, this is a dangerous one. Costs 20 mana. Shadow. Cubes without vengeance, damaged by this, create a solid shadow on death. It's inheritable. Dark Return. After this dies, create a neutral solid shadow here. Doesn't stack. Charges forward once every 2 seconds, and every 2 seconds deals 6 damage to every touching enemy and neutral, and it can climb. Now, the solid shadow is acidic. Every 5 seconds deals 1 damage to all touching cubes with different names. And has vengeance. Before this dies, deal 1 damage to cubes which kill it. So this will just spread the shadow plague, effectively. And we've also got the logistics system. After an ally is placed, refund 1/20th of its mana cost. This also reduces its mana cost by that much. Okay, well, this is going to be a bit of an interesting one. You've already got a Grave Ruined Wall. I can't see any reason to mess with perfection, so we're going to place down a poison trap as the first thing we do, and start stacking the poisons up. We've got... Okay, so everything just did a bunch of damage to everything below it. Fair enough. Let's have... Okay, we've got the Shadow Knight on the move. Very concerned. 4 mana. I could have this lob its projectiles in that direction, or I could go for the ants. Let's hope for the ants to win. I was really hoping that might swing back and do damage to the Eldritch Knight. But we'll see how this goes. Now, the problem with the ants is the ants are going to die very easily. How much poison have we stacked up? Already 30. The lead is going to be dead in a second. Right, so you've got a little bit of poison on you. And we've got another ant heading out right away. But this is going to cause the acidic cubes. Now, they're going to spread. They will spread fast. This is kind of bad. So we are going to want a way of getting rid of those. Never mind. We managed, of course. Our poison laser is winning the fight for us. We've got Tar Pit now. When there is a neutral cube below, deal 20 damage to it, then replace this ability with Burrowed. Before the cube above moves, there is an 80% chance that it doesn't move. Mana Leech, every 2 seconds, deal 3 damage to every touching enemy and neutral. And charging every 2 seconds, move forward. After this deals damage, generate 1 mana. So I could use this to burrow through the earth, generating mana as it goes. That's quite a tempting one. I'll take that. Right, let's see what perk we get. We've got the Holy Dragon Egg, the Infinite Churning, or the Moral Reinforcement. So Infinite Churning, after the cube moves, deal damage or heal, you gain 1 churning. Every 100 churning, the last triggering cube deals 1 damage to a random enemy. That doesn't seem that great, if I'm going to be honest. Moral Reinforcement, after an ally is created, it heals touching allies for 2 HP. That could be quite nice. And then the Holy Dragon Egg. You start with a free Holy Dragon Egg in your hand. Now, the Holy Dragon Egg is this. After 4 minutes, this dies, and a baby Holy Dragon will be added to your hand. It has a bit of armor. The baby Holy Dragon. Can I click on that? It doesn't bring up the... Oh, no, yeah, there we go. So, growth 1, gain 1 extra HP 1 time per minute. There we are. Regeneration 1, heals 1 HP 1 time per minute. Melee, every 5 seconds, deals 1 damage to every touching enemy in neutral. When this is more than 25 max HP, exile this and create a Holy Dragon in its place. After this is created, its mana cost increases by 25. So basically, we can start hatching our own Holy Dragon, and I see no reason not to do that. Now, the enemy has a large abomination. 2 times after this dies, creates an abomination piece. Charging. Every 3 seconds move forward. Every 2 seconds deal 4 damage. The abomination piece. Just 2 seconds move forward. Every 2/3 of a second deal 2 damage to every touching enemy neutral. And it climbs. Okay. We've also got the Soul Jar. Before this dies, deal 2 damage to the cube which killed this. We've also got the healing laser. Every second, create a healing laser beam in front. The healing laser beam will heal 1 HP. We've got water. We've got a common anthill. A weaker version of ours. Every 2/3 of a second, deal 1 damage. It's a little bit faster than ours then. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's got a faster attack, but it doesn't do poison. And the triple wall. After this is created, if this wasn't created by a cube with the same name, create a copy of this above and below. So it's basically a self-replicating triple wall. Well, it doesn't replicate as such, but it'll drop down 3 walls. Okay, let's start this fight. I see no reason not to change up what we've got. You're going to be an issue, though. One I would like to get rid of. Right, Holy Dragon. Let's place you there. It was a free card to place. Let's get... if I place down the mortar, that's 40 mana out of my 50. Would I have time to get this up and running? Not really. So we're going to place this first. I know I'm going against my usual tactic, but I would need a higher vantage point to attack this anyway. And this seems like a better solution right now. I'm going to place this down. We're going to start building up for defense, because this is going to be a bit more of a longer haul for us. You are ticking down to reduce the cost on things, which I'm very, very okay with. And we are about to get our first Chaos Drone in operation. Now, it would be grand if I could start whittling you down with the duality laser, but that is not a thing that we're going to be seeing happen anytime soon, I don't think. Let's speed time forward a little bit. There we go, did a little bit of damage there. It's not going to be enough. You'll probably die on your own in a moment. In fact, I'm going to say it's much more worth it for me to get 2 anthills up and running. We'll see how this goes. Right, they've just dropped down a bunch of walls there. That's probably a wise move. Right, we've got a regular little abomination piece, and this ant will be able to take it out, and that's all I'm going to need from you. Right, let's start moving time forward. There we go. Another abomination in play. Disapprove of that. Quite large. Can I build this up to get a proper attack on the leader? I think so. We've got more and more drones in play, which is fantastic. We have got these soul jars, though, which is a little bit of an issue, I think. But we should be able to burrow through with this now. I would like it if I could get rid of that ant nest over there. Whether I'm able to or not is another question, though. Let's get the duality laser in place. I will also place down a healer. Now, did that take damage? No, because it was a laser beam that killed it, so it didn't hurt itself, thankfully. Now, getting through all of this is going to take us quite some time, unfortunately, but it's just the way it is. And that water is going to start filling up this area, which is a bit of a problem for us. So I'm going to place a wall here, so it's got a little bit higher that it needs to go. Because if we have a look at it, the laser beam itself will do damage from hitting this water, unfortunately, but the water will do damage to things below it. So as long as I can prevent it from getting over the top of us, we'll be okay. How's the egg going? The egg is actually doing okay. We've passed a fair bit of time in game so far. Right, let's have a look. We're down to 94 mana on this, which I'm actually quite happy with. If I can save up enough for the aging replication and the Dwarven Warrior, we are going to pop those into play. We'll see how this all goes. Now, thankfully, the duality laser is actually destroying the water in the top row. So we should be okay in that regard. And I've got so many things attacking now over there. It's actually kind of bonkers. Right, so we're going to slow down time here. I'm going to place in a dwarf. And then I'm going... Oh, damn it, I was meant to do that the other way around. Okay, so we're going to... where did my dragon go? What happened to the... Oh, there we go. Holy Dragon. Let's not place that before I placed that. You'd think I hadn't played this game before. We're going to just pass a little bit more time. Right, there we go. Now I'm going to place this above you. Then I'm going to place a dwarf. Tonk. And there we are. Aging replication is now in place. Okay, every time the mana cost of this in seconds has passed, randomly either gain -1 strength or poison 6, then create a copy of this above. So it's going to slowly make more and more weak versions of itself. which is not exactly that useful for me, if I'm perfectly honest. We'll see how it goes, though. Might be worth me popping down a duality laser down here to keep that dwarf alive. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. And if I get a healing block over here, then I can also take care of the duality laser as well. That wouldn't be terribly bad. Let's have a look at you. Okay, this has got -1 strength, and it has already created... So, okay, so we'll see how this goes. On the right unit, that could be very, very powerful, thinking about it. There we are. Right, we're slowly overcoming the water being built up, and it's honestly just my Chaos Drones that are doing damage right now. It's kind of bonkers when you think about it. All right, let's put... Ooh, if I put that there, it's going to be a bit of an issue. I think we want mortars. Can I get mortars in such a position as they would be able to do a load of damage to the enemy over there? Not without having to cut off the ants, which is not exactly something I want to do. Since while the water's there, it's causing me problems to have the ants in this location, since they'll never get to where I need them to be. But they are eventually going to get through. The Chaos Drones are doing a great job. Right, now we've got a bunch of mana. Let's have a think. I could just overwhelm this with stupid amounts of ants. That is absolutely an option. However, I think what I would rather do is build a really, really, really tall wall. Don't worry, my leader's head is very, very hard. And then we're going to pop a mortar up top so that we can start dropping mortars over on that side of the map. And this mortar should, if we're lucky, make it all the way down there. Let's pop a mortar there. Let's have a watch of how this goes. Now, how far along are you to the point where you're going to gain extra HP? You're quite far away, actually. Okay. Now, incoming mortar. There we go. And... okay, not the most amount of damage there, I must say. And... actually, no, never mind. It's getting through there, to be fair. I am quite impressed. Alright, we'll continue to watch that happening. It'll likely start whittling down the walls on that side, which means we're probably going to start seeing everything filling in. Now, I wish there was a way for me to build out a bridge here. If I had, honestly, it sounds stupid, but those bloody flies, if I had those flies, I would be able to do that right now. I'd be able to just create a platform and then build up off it. Sadly, no flies for us. I'm deeply saddened by this. Let's just pop in a couple of extra, and well, maybe an extra mortar as well. Sure, an extra mortar as well. Now, they are slowly working their way. This water is built up enough now that it's causing me issues. But with a couple of mortars down here, and the fact that water... oh, okay, they've rebuilt it, which is kind of annoying, but oh well. Also, this poison is not doing the best anymore. It pains me, but I think I'm going to just have to get rid of some of the ants over here. It really does irritate, but it's just the way it's going to be. That being said, I should be able to build on top of the ants once they're in position. Yes, I shall build my anthills on top of the ants. Ants are strong. It makes sense to me. There we go. Right, you are supporting the entire colony with your berserker strength. Well done, ants. Living the ant dream right now, you are. Unfortunately, there is gravity, so even if I tried that trick and then an ant moved away, it would no longer work. So I can't beat it that way, sadly. I'm thinking of placing this there. Yes, I know that is a kind of a waste. And to shut it up, I'm going to pop that in there so it's no longer making noise. Place that down and place another healing item over here. Let's just keep going with the mortars and the Chaos Drones and just doing all the damage on that side that I can. It should eventually work. What on earth happened? Why did that move back? Oh, no, wrong thing. There we are. That works. Right. I'm shooketh that you have not taken damage yet. I'm going to need more mortars up on this side. Oh, oh, of course, those ants die after a while. That makes sense. Alright, well, then given that, I'm going to build up another mortar on this side. Now, the interesting thing with these mortars is as long as they're being healed... Eventually it will have too much poison, I suppose. But if they could move... Well, I'd need to allow them to move around to be able to make room to make more mortars above them. So never mind. I was going to say, I could, as long as they were being healed, I could just put the aging replication on them. Because losing strength on this doesn't matter because it spawns a bullet. It's the bullet that does damage, not the mortar itself. But we are getting through there now. Little by little, the mortars are starting to drill down through the enemy sections. But we're not getting anywhere particularly fast, I must say. So let's get some dwarven warriors in play. See what they can do. Maybe a couple more ants wouldn't be amiss. Or another poisonous laser, perhaps. That is the other thing. Well, I need to get rid of that ant hive, but I'll just build another one up. Or just burrow that one in. Well done. All of those ants now getting retirement. Okay. Right, once there's no longer enemies over here, all of the Chaos Drones should retarget. But it is taking a long time, because these ones can't fire. Which is the issue that I've got. And it's just spawning more and more water up there. Okay, well, I think... How are we doing down here? Up to 14. Let's continue to place down the Shrine to Recovery, because these can hit anything on the map. So it seems to be the smartest move for us, really. And they are firing just pure healing beams at us, which isn't actually doing any damage. Have I managed to get any kind of poison on them? No, not yet. Okay, well, they're building things on top of my drones. Rude. But at least we are actually now doing some damage to the enemy. It's just going to be a war of attrition, realistically. But it's a war of attrition that I will win in the end. Alright, it looks like the enemy are finally starting to wither. Our Dwarven Warriors, it takes a lot of effort to get through the concrete down here because it has quite a lot of HP, but they are getting through it. Little by little, and there's really not much left now that the enemy is able to use to try and stop us. So we are gradually getting through and dealing damage to the enemy down here. I don't think we've gotten a single bit of poison over there yet, mostly because of the ants all over the place. But we are going to place down Shrine to Recovery there, and all of these are charging at the same rate, which is quite nice. Now, one other thing you can look at over here, we've got Pandora's Box. After this is created, for each player, add 3 pieces of a random dangerous cube to their hand. After 10 minutes and every 5 minutes thereafter, the game adds one of these to your hand. Effectively, the game has been going on for a long time, so it's a way of stalemate protection. And another thing to note is as you burrow down further and further, you get stronger and stronger rock. Eventually you get to, I believe, lava, but it's quite a long way down. So this is this deep rock has 13 HP and 1 armor, which is better than the regular rock and so on and so forth. But oh my lord, the amount of Chaos Drones we have. That took us far, far longer than it should have. Right, the Shield Congealer. War Spirit's Factory. After a non-leader ally deals damage, 5% chance to create a copy of it above this. Melee, every 2 seconds deal 2 damage. After this is placed, generate minus 50 mana. So this effectively costs 150 mana. Then the Eye of Glass. Every 2 seconds, deals 0 damage to a random enemy. Before this deals damage, 10% chance to increase that damage by 1. After this deals damage, if the victim is injured, it loses 1 max HP. Huh. I mean, it's a very cheap unit that we could afford to spam around the place, but I don't think so. I think we'll go for the War Spirit's Factory. Not that I'm sure that we're going to use it. Now then, let's have a look at what we've got over here. We've got a couple of things. We've got some cubes to grab, the remote shielding unit again. We can pick up a rubber construction. After an ally dies, and any ally directly below gains 2 extra HP. A rubble construction, rather. We've also got nothing happens before movement or damage. There's a 10% chance to negate it. Okay, I think that would affect our damage though. The laser pointer, every 9 seconds, every ally with 3 other allies behind it shoots a 1 damage laser beam. Lasers can hit allies. So if we have a blockade, like we had previously, this would cause all of the things at the front to produce lasers. That's not bad. And then finally, the secret gun. After an ally is created, there's a 10% chance it shoots a 2 damage projectile forwards every 17 seconds. So we could potentially have a bunch of bullet shooting ants. Laser shooting ants or bullet shooting ants. Either way, I love it. We're going to take the bullets though. Alright, okay, that's all we're going to grab. I don't feel like picking up curses. And though I say that, and we have to, select a perk. Curse of Wages. At the start of each battle, lose 1 gold for every cube in your hand. Curse of Temporal Acceleration. Every 5 seconds of additional time. Every minute, 5 seconds of additional time happen for all enemies. And then Curse of Flight. After an enemy is created, there is a 10% chance it gains flying. I think I'd prefer to go with the Curse of Wages, frankly. Okay. Now then, again, we're always going to go for the upgrade perks, so we will head off in this direction. It looks like this isn't the final area, though. It may be at least one more besides. So, looking at the time, I think this is probably a good enough first taste for this game. I really hope you have enjoyed. If there is interest, then I would be happy to go ahead and play through, at the very least, the last 2 areas, assuming that I make it that far. So if you've made it this far in the video and you liked what you saw and you want to see more, then do consider letting me, and more importantly, Saint Algorithmus, know down below with those lovely buttons. But that is going to be it from me and from Cube Chaos for now. I really do hope you enjoyed. I hope to see you in the next one. But until then, and as always, do take care, everyone.